Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Yashodhanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodhanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Krishna Rukmini, Jaya Satyabhama. Krishna Rukmini, Jaya Satyabhama. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai,
Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakaacharya Shtotra Shatashri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charana Aravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Srimad-Bhagavad-Gita ki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter number 9, text number 2. Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam Pratyakshavagam Dharmyam Susukam Kartum Avyayam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam Susukam Kartumavyayam. Word to word meaning: Rajavidya, the king of education; Rajaguhyam, the king of confidential knowledge; Pavitram, the purest; Idam, this; Uttamam, transcendental; Pratyaksha, directly experienced; Avagamam, understood; Dharmyam, the principle of religion; Susukham, very happy; Kartum, to execute; Avyayam, everlasting. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting and it is joyfully performed. So this verse has got a very long purport. It's almost running into 5-6 pages. So we will not be reading the purport. We will try to understand this shloka. So this is the second shloka of the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad-Gita. And this chapter starts with Krishna saying that, my dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most secret wisdom, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. So something very, very special Krishna is telling that he is going to reveal to Arjuna now. And what is the nature of what he is going to reveal to Arjuna? That he is explaining in this verse. So what is he saying? The nature of this knowledge? He says, first, it is Raja Vidya. Raja Vidya means the king of education. This is the first point. The second point he says is, it is Raja Guhyam. It is also the most secret of all secrets. So it is Raja Vidya, it is Raja Guhyam. Third, it is Pavitram. Pavitram means it is the purest. And fourth, Idam Uttamam. Uttamam means transcendental, beyond any other material knowledge. That which is beyond the ignorance of this material world. So it is Idam Uttamam. So when we say that something is the king of education, something is very, very secret, something is very, very pure, something is beyond this material ignorance, then the question comes, so how is it possible to realize this? I may study this and all that, but is it possible to realize this? So immediately Krishna says it is Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam. Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam means you can practically experience this also. It is not like some formula which is written on the board and you are unable to make head or tail of it. No. You can actually realize this highest knowledge. So it is Pratyaksha. Pratyaksha means directly experienced, and Avagamam, it can be understood. Dharmyam, this principle of religion. This is the nature of this knowledge. So if it is so confidential, it is so pure, it is the topmost, it is the purest, and it can be experienced, then it must be very difficult. Is it not? Something which is so valuable, so you have to struggle very, very hard to achieve it. Is it not? So what is Krishna saying? It is Susukam Kartum. It is not at all difficult. Very happily you can perform this and gain this knowledge. Susukam Kartum. And most importantly, the last point Krishna explains is, this is Avyayam. Avyayam means, this knowledge which you acquire, it is eternal in nature. We acquire so many degrees, educational qualifications. And then times change and we find that education has no longer any value. But Krishna is telling this knowledge is avyayam. So what are the different points? It is the king of knowledge. It is the most secret. Shri Shri Krishna Rukmani Satyabhama ki, Gaur Nitai ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. It is the king of all knowledge. That is one. Second, it is the topmost secret. Third, it is the purest pavitram. Fourth, idam uttamam. It is beyond the ignorance of this material world. It is pratyaksha dharmyam, something which can be experienced. Susukam kartum, very, very easy to perform. And the seventh point, it is avyayam, it is eternal. So 7 characteristics of this knowledge Krishna is telling in this verse. The knowledge which Krishna is revealing here has got these 7 characteristics. So now over the last 2-3 weeks or a month, we have been seeing that today's Gen Z or Gen X or whatever we call them, these youngsters, they have created a big revolution and they have been able to remove a very, very high ranking minister of the education department. And the issue they have raised is the education system in the country has to be completely reformed. And this entire revolution came about after the NEET paper was leaked. So NEET is an entrance exam for all the medical test aspirants. So it is a very valid argument, because a valid demand, because education is very important. Is it not? If people are not educated, then what happens to their future? What will happen to their livelihoods? So they were demanding that the entire system has to be changed so that the citizens of this country, the young generation of this country, get good education, and by getting this good education, our futures are secured. So you see, the desire for a good education, the desire for a happy future is driving these protests. But we was looking at some statistics. This NEET is an exam where medicine itself is a very, very challenging profession compared to other streams like commerce, science. The students who opt for medicine, they have to work very hard. Even clearing the entrance exams is not easy. Over 22 lakh people, they write the exam, but not everybody is able to get through it. And they believe that they get through it and then their life is successful, everything happens well. But the statistics, they point out a very different picture. There is a statistics on the suicides in India, and they say that the percentage of suicides amongst people who are in the medical profession is more than the average suicide rate of the country. So you see, these people are working so hard. They want to clear medicine, thinking that our career will now be bright and we can have a good future. But the reality is something else. So what is it that this education system is lacking? We might change so many systems to ensure that, the best education is given to people. But will these systems ensure that the happiness that we are seeking we will be able to get? That is the question we have to ask ourselves. So by all these revolutions, what is happening? The systems are changing, the policies are changing. But what does not change is the consciousness of the persons. So, what Krishna is bringing out in the Bhagavad Gita and what our scriptures are bringing out is a revolution in ourselves, within ourselves, a revolution in our consciousness. They are introducing an education which is beyond the mundane education which is there in this world. They are giving us a system of education which is teaching us how to deal with lives, not just with our careers, not just in terms of wealth or some position or some profession or some occupation by which we just fill our stomachs. No, life is much beyond that. So this education is helping us deal with life's real challenges. This education is making us understand what is the reality of this world. What are we supposed to do in this world? How are we supposed to deal with the different situations in this world? How are we supposed to view all the imperfections which we see in this world which is causing us so much frustration and unhappiness? How are we to experience contentment? How are we to experience fearlessness? This knowledge, which is the real requirement of this society, is unfortunately not part of any modern educational system. And unless this knowledge is systematically distributed to all sections of society, there will continue to be several revolutions which will only give some temporary solutions. Because unless we change our consciousness, unless we understand our real identity, we cannot experience the happiness that we are seeking for. So, this knowledge which Krishna is explaining in the Bhagavad Gita, Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam, Pavitram idamuttamam, Pratyaksha dharmyam, Susukam kartum avyayam, this is completely beyond any other education which we learn in our schools and colleges. When Srila Prabhupada went to America, MIT, Boston, he was invited to give a talk to all the students there. And we all know that MIT was, and today also, is one of the top educational institutions in the world. So when Prabhupada went there, in his talk, he asked a question. He said, in your country, because America in the 1970s, it was one of the most advanced nations in the world in terms of education, in terms of scientific advancement, in terms of systems, in terms of meritocracy. There was no issue there of, corruption, paper leaks and all that. So, Prabhupada asked the question that I see in your country, there are many, many universities, there are many, many departments of knowledge where so many different things are being taught. But I don't see any department where they are teaching you what happens to a person after he dies. Where is that system of knowledge where you are able to get answer to this most important question? Your entire life, you are struggling very hard, you are working for so many things, you are pursuing something which you are thinking is reality, and suddenly one day you are no longer there in this world. Where is the answer to that question? What has happened to you? 60 years, 70 years, 80 years, you have a certain understanding of reality and you are pursuing that. You are putting your entire energy, resources, emotion, feelings completely on that. Suddenly one day you are no longer there. What has happened to you? Do you have an answer for that? And as we all know, they had no answer to that. So Prabhupada said, this knowledge is what we want to give you. This knowledge which tells you what your real identity is. Why are you there in this world? what happens to a person after he dies, where does he go, what is his destiny, this knowledge we are giving you. And that knowledge only Krishna is describing here. Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam, Pavitram Idamuttamam, Pratyaksha Vagamam Dharmyam, Susukam Kartum Avyayam. So why this is a topmost knowledge? Because any knowledge, for it to be considered topmost, it should give us the highest benefit. That is how we choose our courses, right? Which course, if I study, I'll be able to earn a lot of money. Which has a lot of demand. Is it not? So Krishna is telling this is Raja Vidya. Why? Because we are all looking for happiness. And not some temporary happiness. We want unlimited happiness. Is it not? Does anybody want happiness? I want only for 5 minutes I want to be happy. Balance of the time if I'm miserable it is okay. Is anybody satisfied with that? We all want to be happy 24/7. Is it not? So that happiness to experience, the first thing is to know what is the nature of happiness that we require. We should know what is our nature and how my nature can be completely satisfied. By doing what kind of activities I can be satisfied. So this is what Bhagavad-Gita is teaching. It is teaching the topmost knowledge of what your real identity is. Our real identity is, we are not this body, we are spirit soul. Actually, it's a very long purport, but you all should read this 9.2 purport. Every word of this verse, Prabhupada has explained in detail. Why this knowledge is the most confidential. Why this knowledge is the king of knowledge, like that. So, this is the king of knowledge, because there are so many fields of knowledge. Not just in terms of the material knowledge like science, social, geography, history, warfare, not just that. Even among the scriptures, there are so many different schools of knowledge. There are different philosophers, like Jaimini, there is Shandilya, there is Vaishwanara. So many philosophers are there who have written books and books and books and books. But out of all of that, this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all knowledge. Because after learning all that, one has to come to the understanding which the Bhagavad Gita is giving. Krishna tells again in the Bhagavad Gita, Vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedyaha. After reading all this knowledge, one is supposed to understand what is told in Bhagavad Gita. Only then he can be happy. So that is why it is called the king of knowledge. And it is confidential. Raja Guhyam. Why is it confidential? Because it talks about that which is beyond our material perception. It is talking about our identity as spirit soul, who are different from this body. So it involves the understanding that my body is different and my identity is different from this body. So this knowledge is very, very confidential. It is not found in any other mundane subject matter like chemistry, sociology, physics or geography. Is it not? So none of the institutions are giving this knowledge. This knowledge can be attained only from the Bhagavad Gita. So therefore, it is very, very confidential. And it is pavitram. Pavitram means it is the purest knowledge. So, no matter what knowledge we acquire in this world, the propensity to commit sinful activities is always there. Why? Because all other knowledge is based on the premise that we are this body and the goal of life is to satisfy the desires of this body. You take science, you take social, you take economics. For example, I remember reading in economics. What is the goal of economics? The economics says man is a social animal. And the goal of economics is to try to satisfy man's unlimited desires with the limited resources available in this world. So the fundamental premise of economics is, it is telling you are an animal and you have unlimited desires, and the goal of your life is to satisfy all the desires that you have. So foundation itself is flawed. Instead of telling you are not this body, your desires are different from your body's desires, what is our education teaching us? It is keeping us in ignorance. You are this body. You have to satisfy your body. Then only you will be happy. Is it not? Which scientists are given the most recognition, most reward? Those people who are saying, discovering something by which you satisfy your body. Science means it is actually supposed to discover what is the ultimate truth, what is the cause of all causes. But where are they discovering what is the cause of all causes? They are also saying everything is made of matter, some chemicals mixed, and because these chemicals mixed, then life formed. Is it not? But is there any evidence that you see that some chemicals has mixed and life has formed? Prabhupada challenged the scientists. He says, I'll give you all the chemicals that you want. You produce one ant. Can you produce one ant? Till now, has any scientist produced a single life form from chemicals? Nobody has been able to produce. So, even science is teaching us that you are nothing but a mixture of chemicals, which is completely wrong. So, that is why this is very confidential knowledge. All our modern educational systems, they are putting us in ignorance that we are this body. And because people are identifying themselves with this body, they keep committing more and more sinful reactions. But when somebody comes in touch with the Bhagavad-Gita, what happens? He stops committing sinful activities because he realizes his true identity. And because of that, this is called the purest of all knowledge. Pavitram idam uttamam. And uttamam because it is taking us out of this darkness into enlightenment. So this material knowledge, it is keeping us ignorant. It is making us think that we are this body and the goal of life is to satisfy this body. But this knowledge is taking us beyond this ignorance. Therefore, it is called uttamam. And it is pratyaksha vagamam dharmyam. This is most important. So many people can give talks, philosophies, lectures, theories. But the important thing is it true? Swamiji, you are saying we are not the body, we are the soul. We can experience happiness even if we don't satisfy the body. But is it possible to experience this? This is the biggest question, right? Krishna says, yes, it is pratyaksha vagamam dharmyam. You follow this process, you can experience this happiness. Prabhupada went to America, 1970s. He spoke this in MIT, and he didn't just speak, but he demonstrated this. Because these educated people studying in the topmost universities, they were frustrated with life. So frustrated that they became hippies. They gave up their educational degrees. They took up to gambling, drinking, drugs, illicit sex. And when Prabhupada introduced them to this philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita, when Prabhupada introduced them to this chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, what happened? They were able to give up all their bad habits. They were able to experience that happiness and satisfaction which none of their other educational degrees could give them. That is the beauty of this knowledge. It is pratyaksha vagamam dharmyam, and it is susukam kartum. Anybody can take to this process. You don't have to write an entrance exam. There is no question of one person being admitted and another person being rejected. Is it not? Now, whatever system they might come up with, there will be some people who pass and there will be some people who fail. But this is not a system only for a select few people. There is no entrance exam here. Everybody is welcome to participate in this education. Unlimited seats are available. Only people have to come. This is why it is. And is it very difficult? Day and night you have to remember, write exams, then you have to do so. No, it is susukam kartum avyayam. You don't have to do anything. Just like this in a class, you come and listen, nicely dance in the kirtan, have some nice prasadam. Susukam kartum. Very, very joyfully it can be performed. And the most important thing is avyayam. All other education system, today you study something, after a few years that knowledge is outdated. People were mad after studying coding. I remember when I was a student, there was big demand for MCA. Computers. And suddenly some Y2K or something came and people said everything is over. Now some new course we have to study. And therefore even any other course, people take up chartered accountancy, whatever, continuously they have to keep updating. The latest have to know, because what they studied is no longer relevant. But this knowledge is avyayam. Once you study, eternally there. There is no Bhagavad Gita version 1, version 2, version 20, version 40. No. For 5,000 years, only one version of Bhagavad Gita. And Prabhupada writes this, Bhagavad Gita as it is. No change. If somebody tries to change, then they will not get Rajavidya, Rajaguhyam. They will get some other knowledge only. So this is this knowledge, which is easily available, unlimited seats, and it gives the highest benefit. So this knowledge we have to take up in our lives and make our lives successful. We'll stop here. Srimad-Bhagavad-Gita ki, Vishwaguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.